Yo, what's up, y'all? I'm Ron from the 650, and this is the 6-5 Show, episode 17. I'm here with my favorite rock star, Hey Kujo, in the virtual building. How you living today, Hey Kujo?
I'm well, man. I'm well.
So, yeah, you guys just came back from tour, you and good company supporting LaRussell, who opened for T-Pain on his national tour.
Pain.
Like
His
115 shows in 36 days or some crazy shit. Two countries. Y'all was in Canada doing border shit. I was like, "Oh, these guys are crazy." I wanted to ask you
yeah.
specifically, yeah, what is it like kind of being an artist and making that decision to kind of, like, put your artistry on hold for a second and support something that's huge for the region and huge for good company in the collective?
Nigga, when I found out about this tour, I was like, I went to this man LaRussell. I was like, please let me go, bruh. Let me go, bruh. I want to hang out with T-Pain too, bruh. Come on, bruh.
Yeah.
But it was huge because it's like, uh, wow, it is like, I mean, I had to be away from like my own like kind of artistry and like the momentum that I had while I was still back. It's not like it stopped anything, you know what I mean? Because it was like
Mhm.
being on there, it's like you get so much like free game and stuff like that, and just like it also showed me just like a workflow that I was like, oh, this is how you keep uh what you got going, your motion going, no matter what. You know what I mean? Because it was like there was a lot of times before when I was here, and it was just like I would have the energy to do whatever I had to do whenever I had it, but it was like when I was burnt out, I was really burnt out. You know what I mean? Being around all those people and just like all these like just like good company be some there's some motion monsters. It really don't make sense. And it was like I've been around good company from like the very early days. So it's like I've always known LaRussell was that, but like just seeing like how the team has evolved now, it's just like it's completely nonstop. So it's like it really just showed me a way to work where it was just like, wow, I can keep like no matter like if I'm feeling burnt out, feeling tired, I found something that I can do at all times to just further where I'm trying to go. So it was like that was important for that, and it was just like also like since the beginning I was always like I'm gonna support my friend. You feel me? And nah, but yeah, that shit was life changing for sure.
Yeah, that shit just sounds super dope, just all those shows in a short amount of time span. It's not like you're sitting there for a week like, "Okay, cool, we got one show done this week. Whew. Next week we're in." No, it's like we got a show today.
Today
We got
show,
a show
tomorrow
tomorrow.
show, next
Well, we're
day,
going to
yeah.
Canada. We gotta get this show off, then we gotta come back to the States to get another show off in 32
Right.
hours. Like, that shit's insane to me, so big ups to you and y'all who did this, good
Thank
company.
you, bro.
Yeah, label, The Motion, The Collective. Big ups to all of y'all. One of those cities that you guys had a tour or layover, Alabama, right? The state of Alabama, you guys are
Alabama.
there. You posted something one of those nights in Alabama. The
Mhm.
title of this question is called 2 AM Thoughts in Alabama. You said, I'm
Ooh.
not proud of my brands right now. I'm gonna take them in a different direction, a direction that feels a lot more true to what I envision. I only want to be surrounded by people capable of outworking me. So how do you cope with the burden of, constantly having visions of the future of your art while being in the present moment?
Um, it's interesting because it's like, first of all, that post got me in hella trouble. Like niggas was like, "Hey, bro, you hate me?" I was like, "Nah, bro, it's not like
You subbed
I'm
insta
always."
me?
That's exactly like I was with that one specifically. It wasn't directed at anybody necessarily, like but it was more. But also, it's like if the shoe fits, nigga. But but you feel me? But that one came about because it was just like I was surrounded by so much of what I was like, damn, this is what I was searching for. And it was like also like very special conditions. Like not everyone really goes on a tour with T-Pain and like gets to be around like so many like creatives and like so many people they look up to and just like, I mean, get to work 24/7. But it was like it just showed me that I was like, wow, this is the direction that I always figured that you could go, but I just didn't feel surrounded by enough to, like, you know what I mean, validate that, you know what I mean? And that was when I was feeling validated in that way, you know what I mean? Um, but I totally forgot what your question was. Something about the future
No, like,
though.
kinda like you said, right? Like, to have that vision of, "Okay, this is where I wanna take my
Mm.
personal artistry," but that's almost a vision of the future because of where I'm at right now, how I'm supporting, LaRussell and Good Company
Oh
here.
yeah.
How do I how do I, cope with, "Alright, I have to do this to get to there," or how do I, "Okay, this is what I have to do day to day or
Mm.
month to month or year to year."
Yeah, that it's not a cope. It's definitely like it's more of a motivation and inspiration.
Mm,
Then it's like I know how to get there now, and that's why even in that post, I'm like, I'm gonna take my brands in a direction that I'm like way more fulfilled with. You know what I mean? Because it was just like it just showed me that I could. You know what I mean? Rather than having to be like content with, you know what I mean, or trying to figure out some other way around. It just showed me that I'm like, as long as you just take this shit really serious and you work at it, like how I said, I figured out a way to work at it like every day and every moment, you know what I mean? So as long as you do that, like you can, it's not like, I remember it was a Mine. I saw him post something and it was like, achieving your dreams is not the hard part. It's believing in them or some shit like
mm.
that. And it was like, or like achieving your dreams is easy, believing them is the hard part, because it was like it really just takes that much drive and that much belief and just that much, you just got to keep on pumping into that shit. But it's like as long as you do the work, you get there, you know what I mean? And I've seen it several times before, so it's like, yeah. So yeah, the to answer your question though, in short form, is like it's not a cope, it's definitely like more of a motivation than anything else.
Yeah. It's the shit, right? It's the belief. It's the shit that you signed up for. Like we were talking about, this is
You
the shit
feel
that comes with the shit.
the shit that comes with the shit. It's not a burden either. Yeah, yeah. In that case scenario, some shit is a burden.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's there's a lot of shit. I mean, let's talk about it. So what is the worst part or your least favorite part about, creating or being a creative/artist sometimes?
Hmm. Uh, that's a tough one because it's like I really love all of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I like as much as we complain, it's like I wouldn't trade anything to live a different kind of life. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Uh, I think sometimes it's hard to like how you said, like visions of the future, it's hard to get everybody on board because it's like not everyone can see the same things you can see, you know what I mean? And it's like, and that's not a fault on anyone, but
No.
I think it would be a lot, it'd be a lot easier to get there if, you know what I mean, like everyone had the same vision and stuff like that. But I really don't see any of it as like a burden when it comes to stuff like this, you know what I mean? It's like all of it is really just the grind,
Yeah.
you know, you just find your footing.
I know that a lot of times, through your content and, just being around people who, you're comfortable being around, it's like
Mhm.
a lot of the shit you do is with people who look like your friends or look like people you genuinely fuck with or you're like who care about you. And that sometimes can be really heavy, even though it's light because it's fun, right? Like you guys are constantly pushing each other, and going these different directions. And like everybody is a creative, so everyone has these dope ideas. But it's like, okay, everyone has a different vision. It might be like the same picture, but it's like a different vision,
Right,
right? So how do we
right,
how do we all come together to be like, all right, let's do this in this way, and let's stay in this lane for right this very moment, in this moment of time, in this glimpse, and let's see what we can
indeed,
kind of come up with. Let's see what the product of it that is, right?
for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
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 it's you can see the same picture, but you could be standing in different places, and it could look different to you. Like I remember, you know, Mali or
yeah.
Malachi,
Malachi.
bro, that nigga raw. But
Shh.
he in one of his songs, I didn't forget it because he was like, from where I'm standing, my six, your six could be a nine. You know what I mean, or stuff like that. It's like it's the same. We're looking at the same thing, but it's like it's always just perspective. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%. I like to
Yeah.
focus a lot on perspective because, like you both just said, it's like you don't know where somebody is coming from at every single moment. You might know their history or their experience or their current artistry, but like just being a creative is being an artist. It's like inspiration is literally when they say like the cliche or the corny whatever phrase, inspiration is all around us. No, like I'll see something, I'll read a quote, like you just said, the Amine
Mhm.
quote, and that shit will just change my perspective just enough. So like the next, I don't know, 20 pieces of content I make are different, but just slightly different in the way that, okay, I'm more
Right.
enlightened now than I was 17 seconds ago before I saw the post, right? So it's like always
Exactly.
kind of being in that same mindset, but everyone's in their individual perspectives is sometimes kind of hard. So I wanted to ask you, how do you kind of, you know, with these collaborations, with all the events you throw with the collectives, Good Company, your homies, and all the shit you do solo as HeyKujo?
Um, so with like with understanding that like everybody's perspectives, everybody has their own perspective on things like that. It's like it gives you a lot of understanding in general. You know what I mean? Like nobody's like usually wrong. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
different. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Uh, so it's like it's easy to navigate that once you understand that. And it was like, okay, well, it's like I want to go this direction, you want to go this direction. It was like you can find a middle ground, or it can be like with stuff like when it comes to your homies, like that's a brand that I started. So it's just like
mm,
I'll be like, this is the direction we're going with this, and I usually like leave it up to my peers and stuff like that. I'm like, what do we think about that? We find some type of compromise, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think it's usually like a. I think understanding that though there are different perspectives, and it's not that like one thing doesn't make like two things can be true. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like one
Same
thing
time,
doesn't
yeah,
cancel one thing out. It just makes it like that compromise always like more peaceful. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%. Okay,
Also, I'm just a nigga who's like, I've learned about myself recently. I'm like, I'm not a person because a lot of people are kind of like afraid of like conflict. You know what I mean? Because it could cause like some other type of like snowball effect or whatever, or just the fear of it could go either way. I've never been like afraid of conflict per se because I'm always a person who's like, let's just communicate about it. You know what I mean? We'll find the real answer that we're both looking for. You know?
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, like you said, a lot of people are afraid of conflict, but a lot of people also don't want to communicate. So be like a
Right.
not even on the same side of the same stone, like, alright, not only do you not wanna step on anybody's toes or not wanna, like, get to the solution, you also do wanna talk about the solution. It's like, "Oh, bet we're just gonna
Yeah.
both be, like, in our feelings alone, or it'll be a one-side thing," and we're like, "Yo, like, this person's just not
It's just
fucking
gonna
with me anymore." We just
it's
the
gonna be
vibe will be
weird.
that.
It's just gonna be
Yeah.
weird.
Yup.
I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
like
not
that.
talking to him, he's not talking to me, we're just not talking, but we know that there's something like there's a reason we're not talking, you know? Yeah, that should
Yeah.
be weird. Yeah, I think this was gonna be the first question, but I'm glad we took it on, like, the T-Pain, Good Company tour. I think music's main job is to kind of connect people through experiences, whether it be
Mm,
artist to fan, or even sometimes artist to artist. We don't know each other very well. Like this is the longest conversation we've ever had. We've had a couple
right.
other conversations, but like I don't know you personally like that. But I've streamed Burden 100 times now, and I've had my own personal
Woo! That was
experience.
you? I was seeing it.
Yeah, yeah, like looking up. Okay, we lit today. Yeah, that's right. No, but do you feel like kind of a sense of responsibility to tell stories that other people relate to when you're creating?
I don't feel a responsibility to tell people like tell stories that people relate to. When I'm creating, I'm literally just like almost like turn my mind off and it just spills out of me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's like I don't even necessarily know what I'm creating when I make it. Like a lot of the time, I'll listen back to a track like few weeks, few months later, I'm like, oh, I was talking about that thing, like exactly what I was going through at that time, in like a way that like Burden, for example, that song just spilled out of me, and I was like, I wasn't even necessarily like aware that I was talking about how much I was talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just it was just at the time for me, it was necessary for my healing, and you know what I mean. And I think that is where it connects to other people though, because Tessie Mystic,
Very talented.
that's my dog, and she told me one time, because I was thinking about the last project I dropped. I think I was thinking about one of the songs, and I was like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know if I really click with it anymore. I don't know if I'm gonna put it out. And she was like, as artists, like who we are, we're healers. You know what I mean? So it's almost like our responsibility to kind of like heal the community in that way. It's like you may have got what you needed from it, but it's like someone else who's going through that may have not like got that kind of answer, and it's like that connection is important. Like, and also to connect it one more time to a good company, like LaRussell had told me, he was like, or he has this quote where it's like, music is where you go when you don't have anywhere else, or something like that. And
Mm,
I was like, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, think about how many times you feel like this song saved me, you know what I mean? Or like, I just really connected in this time. It was like where you felt alone and you heard some shit and you're like, oh fuck, someone out there understands. So it's like, that's how that connects. But I always think that comes after the fact. Like I create for me and then I share for everyone else. You know what I mean?
mm.
But yeah, I don't directly create for other people ever.
I get that. I get that. It's like you said that you just kind of feel your way through like recording. Like you don't you create with an empty head. Like, all right, this is what I have to say right now. That's on my conscious. I'm letting it
Of
flow.
course.
It's almost like, and I talk about this a lot with Danny Ali, and we
Yeah.
go back and forth on that. It's like you're letting the universe create through you. Like
You're
you're like,
right,
all right,
right,
I'm a
right.
vessel right now. Whatever I gotta say, I
The
gotta
vessel.
say. Like, and that's a dope experience because there's a million of those experiences.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That
Yeah.
you said that better than I could, honestly.
No, but yeah, it's just that like you're creating with a sense of just like I'm sharing this is what I have to share right now. This is what I feel the most right now. And
Right,
on the other side of that, like just because we're all humans with 8 billion different perspectives, it's like somebody's gonna rock with this
right.
just
And
because I'm just feeling.
even in those cases, it's like when I'm creating or when I'm writing and stuff like that, like how I said, like I go in with like a empty head or stuff like that, or I just turn it off, because I'm a person who is like, it almost feels uncomfortable sharing that level of like depth. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm the most honest person and most like pure version in my art. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So it's like I almost have to, or else it won't get out, because I'm overthinking. I'm like, I don't want to. You know what I mean? It feels
yeah.
weird. Like for everybody, no. You know. So it's like, yeah, that's definitely why I go into that state though.
That's interesting because now that you said that, like we just connected recently, but when I've seen you in content over the last few years, it's like I always thought you were just like this dark person. Like, oh, like when you weren't showing your personality, it was like, oh, like this is his music. This is what he's talking about. This is his artistic visuals. He's just this like not antisocial, but like this is what I go through in my head and this is how it comes out.
Uh huh.
And then like seeing you around and talking to you this off the art, it's
I'm
like,
like, what's
yo,
up,
this
nigga?
dude's just this dude's just lit all the time, just like hella happy, hella fun, hella vibing. And it's like, yo, wait. And you just said that, and it's like, oh wait, but then the art, and you're listening to the art, and you're like, this is some relatively heavy shit. Like you're talking about,
Right,
like you said, like your demons and your burdens, and it's like, oh, this is, but it's not even like they're almost two different people or two different
right.
experiences, like with the same
For
person
sure.
going through them. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. It's like that connection is like almost like a yin and yang thing, like you just said. Like I'm here to
Right,
these are my deepest, darkest, feelings that I'm putting through my art. Because if I don't, then I'm just not gonna they're just not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna live with inside
right.
me.
Right, and that'll suck. That would be the burden if you just had to
Yeah.
sit with it all the time. Right. It's actually a blessing that like, and you'll find it with like a lot of artists. It's like not necessarily that they were like, I just wanted to be able to make songs and stuff. They're like I had to make songs or I would have exploded and died
Yeah.
from all this shit. You know what I mean? It's like it's important to have those avenues to share that kind of stuff.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
mediums, because without the mediums, that's art in its purest form, right? Like, I have
Right.
something that I need to get off my chest, like, this is the outlet I'm choosing to do
Right.
that, and through that,
Right.
all this
Also,
other stuff is born.
right. It hurts, but also I'm trying to make a living, so please pay me for it.
Yeah, no, please buy the shit, please stream the shit, please
Please.
pay the artist directly for the shits because this is it comes with the shit. The
Right.
bills are the shit that comes with the shit. That's
That's the shit that come with this shit. Right. Right. No
yeah.
artist like being broke.
The The Art of Not Being Broke. I'd buy that book. Yeah, I'd
Right.
buy that book. I know I say you're my favorite rock star, right? And that's to
Mhm.
me, that's more rock, but songwriting can go in a million different directions. Like, why do you choose to create in this medium? Yeah.
I think well I grew up on a lot of like rock shit and alt shit just like with my sister which she played guitar and sang and all stuff like that, so like that translated kind of like through me a lot, and I was just like a really like little emo kid honestly
Mhm.
growing up, but a lot of it is just like experimenting and just like I've always said that like I create songs that like I wish like existed, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like so I can listen, you know what I mean? That I mean creating the shit that I want to hear. Um
Yeah.
so like if you ask any of my friends who have like just rode in the car with me and I'm playing shit, like if I'm just playing like random shit I'm listening to, they always go like, "Is this you?" Like you know what I mean? Because I just create like a lot of like if it doesn't exist yet already, then it's like that's when I'm like, okay, well I need to make something like of that variety, you know. Um,
Mm.
like I got the song called "Say It," and it's like this like fully like rage ass like rock ass like song where it's like screaming and shit like that, but it's like if you listen to lyrics I'm like tell me how your day is. And, you know shit like that like
Yeah. That's interesting. So, like, the lyrics the songwriting doesn't always, like, match the style of song or, like, the genre of song. It's
when I tell you I just be doing shit bro.
I'm purely
I
a
just be
vessel.
doing shit. I think I there are times where I'm meticulous where I'm like I'm thinking of like I'm like, I feel this. And it's like, there's a few ways to say it. And I was just talking about this with Tieta the other day, but it was like,
Mhm.
but like, there's some way I can pinpoint it down where it like completely like delivers the feeling of it. Like, like, like tone wise, talking about Burden, I had, there was a line in that where I say, well, I love the strength of our tether.
Mhm.
And before that, I was like, I was going back and forth. I was like, while I loved our time together, you know what I mean? Because it
Mhm.
almost gives it more of a, like a brighter feeling. It's like, oh, okay, that's what this is. It was like, love the strength of our tether. You can already just kind of feel the difference in tone that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That delivers, you know what I mean? So I think there are times like that where I'm meticulous just so you can like feel like the real feeling behind it. Cause that's really where I'm centered around, just like that real core emotion. And like everything after that is like kind of like secondary. But yeah, besides that, I just let it flow. I don't try to overthink it.
Okay. Then what happens with, like, when you're trying to curate a project of
I'm
your
trying.
songs? You're like, "Alright,
Mm.
these are the feels that go together around the same time, but they weren't necessarily intended to go together." How does that work?
Hmm.
Or is that just a feeling out process too? You're like, "Yeah, this is what I'm feeling right now, and this is how I connect these experiences, and this is what
For
it is."
me, when it comes to a project, usually it represents a period of time.
Okay. Mhm.
Like every project I made kind of was like meant to represent like either a certain tone or just a certain period of time where I can connect when I create a project, I try to do like world building, like storytelling all the way through. Like I'm trying to put a clear beginning and a clear end point. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I've never, I don't think I've ever, I don't know, because you kind of write projects over a long time, but just kind of like loop some stuff in together. Like even if like the sound goes right, like if I don't feel like this belongs in this story, like I couldn't for the life of me put it in. Like you know how like when some artists like they get like a hit and then they
Mhm.
get a project and they kind of just throw the hit on the project so the project do better. Like
Yeah.
I don't see myself going in that direction. You know what I mean? I kind of write them as pieces. You know?
Mm, okay.
Yeah, knowing
Okay.
there's like a deeper connection like around them. Like even uh with like my next project, uh which I already wrote like years ago. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I wrote a song that's in the middle of it first, but I could tell it was in the middle. You know what I mean? And it was
mm.
kind of like it kind of reached out and it recapped everything that's going on in this project on either sides. But I knew it was a piece in the middle before I even created the beginning or the end and stuff like that.
That's
But yeah,
dope. So Burden won't be on your next project?
Burden. I don't know what project I'm dropping next, just
Okay.
because I'll be like project next month, and then it'd be like 6 months, and it'd be like,
It Oh, okay, you were there, okay, yeah.
and I have a few projects just
Yeah,
waiting. You know what I mean? But Burden, depending on how things go,
okay,
probably will be on a project.
okay,
Maybe not the next one, but if it's not the next one, it'll probably be on the one after that.
okay, dope, dope. Nah,
Yeah,
that's what's up, that's what's up. Because
yeah.
again
And because it's like it's a wider story. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Burden is only like one piece of multiple things. You know?
Mm, okay,
But yeah.
okay, no, that's dope, but, yeah, those are the questions I had for you. I appreciate you coming on. Hey, Cujo, 6'5" Show. What do you wanna leave the people with?
Sheesh. Uh, this is a similar one that I had left. It can't be that. Oh shit! What the hell? Oh, what the? Oh,
Yeah,
what
shout
the
out to
fuck?
iPhone and Mac,
Oh
yeah,
shit!
Apple Music, whatever.
And that's what I'm leaving the people. No, I'm playing.
Yeah,
A
that was fire.
similar one that I had left on the "It Can't Be That Bad" podcast, but I just kind of run into some things that had made me kind of like reconnect with some of those themes. But "Let Go to Let Grow" is one I think will probably live with me for the rest of my life. Uh, the idea of burden and like the shit that comes with this shit. Like I've always said that you're always gonna have some form of burden. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
It's like you're always gonna have some problems in your life. It's just the ones that you're willing to live with. You know what I mean? So it's like you can change your burden to be something else, or you could live with it. It's like you just have to analyze it. You have to figure out what it is. See if you're cool with living with that. If not, do everything you can to change that to something else. But it's like will always have some form of burden, and that was kind of like connected me to writing that song and exactly the shit
mm,
that comes with the shit. Uh, and also, there will be people on your path. You know what I mean? Uh, that are like when you're going on your journey, it's like there will be people that come along and there will be people that go because it's like maybe for this part of your journey, like they're meant to be here or they're meant to go in this direction, they're going the same direction. uh and but everybody's journey is different, you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes you see separation there, sometimes you see convergence where it's like, oh, I didn't even expect that. So I would just say be open-minded in your journey, you know what I mean? Those connections come from where you wouldn't expect it.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. I was gonna let you rock out the outro, but I just thought of it, Pokemon, when you just said that. Like, you only get 6 Pokemon in your party. A lot of Pokemon aren't gonna make it to the Elite Four. A lot of Pokemon are gonna make it to fighting red at the top of the mountain, but a lot of Pokemon gonna get you through that gym. You need some rock Pokemon to get you through the rock gym or, the flying gym or
Right,
whatever it is, but, not all
right.
the Pokemon
Hey,
you meet
hey,
are gonna be there.
and some of those Pokemon that you meet, and it's like, hey, bro, you probably not gonna be on the team at the end of this gym, but it's like, but you can leave that Pokemon with grace and be like, hey, bro, but I love you, bro. I love you, bro. Hey,
Yep.
little Raichu, bro. You little Raichu, you kept on losing, and I'm not gonna lie, we had to pack you up, but you my
Yeah.
dog, bro, because you
You
got me
my
through that
dog.
last gym.
Yeah. You got that one move that I ain't never gonna forget. You helped me out that one time when I really needed it, but I can't
Right.
rock with you no more right here. That's our journey right there. That it just gotta be like
Yeah.
that. No hard feelings, so I rock
That's
with you.
that's the biggest message actually, really, to leave people with. Just give grace, you know what I mean?
Mm,
It's like it's all about perspective, so it's just like nobody, most of the time nobody's wrong.
mhm.
Two things can be true even if they're different, you know what I mean? but just give grace. You know what I mean? And it'll leave you to living well and being well.
Mm. Give grace. Everyone's going through something on their journey through their perspective. This has been another episode of the 6 5 Show. Go grab the
Yo,
art.
yeah.
Hey Cujo. Sorry I'm high. Run slash burden out everywhere now. Go support him. Go buy some shit off even. Go to the show. We got a show this Saturday. Hopefully, we
Ron
can
gonna
put the
be there.
yeah. I'm gonna be there. Yeah. We gonna do some shit. It's gonna be lit. But thank y'all for rocking with us. It's been another episode. Peace and love, everybody.